Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Comic Source Podcast. I'm your host, Jace, here today with another Kickstarter spotlight. Going to talk about Rise. We're up to issue 4 of the series, and I have series artist Ryan Best joining me. Ryan, thanks for taking the time.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, fantastic series. As I said, fourth issue going on right now. It's already funded, everybody. So, if you go and pledge, again, link in the show notes, you're definitely going to get the book. But I wanted to have Ryan on. The writer, Trevor Fernandez Lenkowitz, has been on several times in the past to talk about the series. So I thought we'd switch it up this time, have Ryan on to talk about the series kind of from a visual standpoint. And obviously, Ryan's involved with the storytelling as well. So we'll kick it off, Ryan, with how you got involved with the project, how Trevor approached you, and your initial thoughts when he pitched you his overall idea for the story.
Yeah, well, I mean, long story short, alcohol was involved. But we actually met at Heroes Con in North Carolina a couple years ago, and Trevor initially hired me to do a commission for him. It was a Damian Wayne commission, and from there we just started chatting. And a couple months after Heroes, he hit me up to do a short story in his anthology series, Minutes to Midnight. And then again, we just kind of hit it off and things kept rolling. And then the following Heroes Con, after the con had wrapped, we were like going out for the night. And he's just like, hey, I want to pitch you something. I want to see like if you're interested in it. And that's when he pitched me the idea for Rise. And at the time, it was just a very, very loose idea. He knew the baseline that he wanted a hero where his powers scaled with levels of dopamine. And essentially he knew he wanted it to be about masculinity, and he just kind of pitched me the idea. He's like, it's not going to be like a normal superhero story where they're fighting bad guys and robots and aliens and stuff like that. He's like, I want it to be centered really around the personal life of this guy. And having worked with him twice already at that point, I was really intrigued, and it was like a cool opportunity to try my try my hand at the superhero genre, which I hadn't done before.
So when it comes to the idea of the story and you getting to do some really cool action scenes, because that is one of the things about Rise. I compared it to
Yeah.
um, deconstructing superheroes. We talk about things like Watchmen and what have you. And obviously Trevor's just starting out with his career, so I'm not saying he's the next Alan Moore, but in terms of just looking at the superhero archetype through a different lens. Like I said, you get a chance to show action, and you've got some fantastic scenes, whether it's skyscrapers blowing up or whatever, but you get a chance to do the quieter moments as well. So when Trevor approached you with this, you knew you were going to do some character design, but you probably also knew the challenge of the book is to be able to portray that emotionality. So was that something that was daunting at first? Was it a challenge that you embraced? And now that we're 4 issues in, do you feel like you've evolved as an artist through this project?
I 100% feel like I've evolved as an artist. I feel like Trevor can probably speak to it more than I can. He usually heaps praise on me, but I feel like every issue we're putting out is better than the last one. In terms of, differentiating between those more emotional moments and the action scenes, like I said, I've never gotten to done a superhero book before. And, it's every aspiring comic book artist like dream to like work for one of the big two. And so this was it felt like my chance to be like, okay, if I were working at Marvel or DC, like what it would look like. And I feel like there's a lot of pressure in that because there is so much like history and books and artists have taken their stab at a guy in a cape, saving a building from crashing on people. It was going to be really hard to kind of be like, yeah, I can stand on that level. And then at the same time, working with Trevor, he puts even more of an emphasis on the slower pages, the conversation pages, small panels with just like somebody touching somebody else's cheek. And so I think going in, my initial hesitation or like kind of nervousness was around the action stuff. But once we got into it, I was like, oh man, he's really serious about these quieter moments and trying to be able to make them both as impactful.
What about the character design of the hero himself? Because if you're checking us out on YouTube, everybody, you can see what the hero looks like. You mentioned cape. I know you and I have had conversations about how iconic capes are and how they need to
Yeah.
be done right. So talk a little bit about the initial design for the character. Was this something that you and Trevor bounced back and forth on? Did he just turn you loose and this was your first design? Like, give us an idea conceptually of kind of the character design for the main character here.
Well, Trevor had actually done a sketch and like a digital painting, I think, of the character he wanted. And I don't think he'll admit it, but it was like pretty good. It was a pretty good drawing. And so that was kind of our starting point. So I just basically took what he had given me, and then I think I gave him maybe 6 or 7 variations off of that initial idea. And then we kind of whittled down, oh, a piece from here, a piece from here kind of thing. And I think the challenge of it was to make something iconic, but like didn't just look like a Superman ripoff, but still in that same vein, you know? And it's kind of hard because I mean, every color scheme's been done, every like pattern you can think of has been done. But I don't know. I look at our book and I feel like we nailed it. I think like we got just the right amount of like homage to superheroes with like our own little spin on it.
Yeah, I mean, I think this costume is fantastic, and you're right. Like, it's so hard to do something where, as heroes, you say, "Well, I've seen that before," and
Yeah,
because, like you said, every color scheme has been done, and it's a skin tight outfit and a cape, like boots
yeah,
and a belt. A lot of times, what hasn't been done, especially with the Superman movie coming out in about a week.
exactly.
Obviously, yeah,
And I, and I
he's
think
the
you can even see like in Superman over the years, every time they try to revamp him, it's just like, how can you even mess with that formula? You
yeah.
know, at this point, there's been like, there's posters of every Superman costume that there is, and it gets to the point where you're just like, well, now he has little red stripes somewhere, now he has
Yeah.
extra lines, but essentially like it's unchanged. Like it's just really hard to mess with like a formula like that.
Yeah, I mean, when it's so classic, I mean, there's a reason that iconography works. So,
Yeah,
well, we mentioned kind of the evolution as an artist, and I've certainly seen, and not that I thought the art was particularly, or wasn't up to snuff on the first issue, but yeah, every time I get to see it, the next issue, I'm like, oh my God, here goes Ryan, like leveling up again. Have you gone back and looked at the first issue, or have you gone back and because I hear this a lot from artists, they go back and look at their earlier work and they feel a little bit cringy, uh, and oh man, like if I had to go back and do it again, I would do
yeah.
this different, that different. Are you your own worst critic, like most most artists?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I'll draw a page and the next day I'm like, ugh, that's not my best. And I like, if left up to me, I would just be perpetually drawing the same issue over and over and over again, you know? But yeah, like right, we were getting ready for Heroes Con this year, and we had issues 1 through 3 out, and we had just gotten issue 3 in right before the con. And I was looking at it, I was like, man, this looks really good. I'm really happy with it. And then I'm showing people issue 1, and I'm like, no, it's not quite as good. And so I got to meet some and talk to some art heroes of mine at the show. And I kind of only wanted them to show issue 3, you
Yeah.
know? Like I'm like, don't look at issue 1. Issue 3 is like better, you know?
Did any of them look at issue one and said, "Oh, you're being too hard on yourself," or they could relate?
Oh, I didn't even bring it up. If they were looking at a stack, I would just put 3 on top. But most of the time, they were just going through a random issue and picked it up and said, "Yeah, it looks great." But for me, it's like, oh man, don't look at the first one.
Who are some of the artists that you were showing the work to?
Jonathan Glapion.
Okay,
He's
yeah,
the inker for Greg Capullo for a really long time, and now
yeah,
he's working on a series for Todd McFarlane.
yeah.
I've,
Curse of
I've,
Shirley Johnson. Yeah,
yeah, I've admired his work for years, and I learned a lot of inking tricks from watching his YouTube videos. And like him and Trevor are pretty close, and he came by and was just like looking at my portfolio, looking at the books, and talking about how good it was, and the fact that like I still will ink by hand. I have like a lot of hand inked pieces, and he was just saying how, people aren't really inking by hand these days. They're not taking the time to learn like the muscle control and
yeah.
the techniques to do it. And just hearing him say that, I was like having like a mini heart attack, just him like looking through it. But yeah, I mean, he really enjoyed the work, and so it was just a huge compliment for me because I've been such a big fan of his for so long.
Yeah, Jonathan's fantastic. God, it's been well. I had him on and Daniel, his co-creator on Curse of Shirley Johnson, not too long ago before the book launched. But prior to that, I hadn't had Jonathan on it in years because and we just our paths hadn't crossed. But yeah, when I had him on previously talking about inking and how it's kind of a lost art, and now that everybody is digital, they go basically directly from digital pencils, which are all, almost like finished work, as you know, finished line work,
Yeah,
right to the colors. And it's that lost art of inking, which brings texture um, and can add so much visually, which I think I imagine there's readers, younger comic book readers out right now that they don't realize this because it's the only thing they know. They've probably never read a comic that had where the art was, inked by hand. Everything's digital these days, which I get, right? It's faster, it's easier to correct
yeah, for
mistakes and,
sure.
and what have you. But yeah, something's been lost. So I definitely encourage everybody out there, if you're at a show where Ryan is, definitely go check out his work because it's fantastic. But as I always do when we do these Kickstarter episodes, everybody, I want to remind you that we completely understand. As I mentioned, the project is fully funded. So, link in the show notes. You can click there, and you can get Rise issue 4, and you're going to get it. It's going to be made, and the guys are working on it right now. It's not a situation where, hey, is this going to get funded? Am I going to get my book or not? No, you're going to get it. And also, if you haven't been reading Rise, you can go back and get the first 3 issues that are available in this campaign as well. But we understand that times are tight and you might just not have the means. You check it out. You're checking us out on YouTube. You see Ryan's beautiful art, right there, and you're like, man, I'd love to check it out, but I can't afford it right now. We totally understand. The other way you can help out Trevor and Ryan is to spread the word. Put it out there on social media. Let your friends that read comics know. Let your comic shop know that this is coming out. If they want to get previous issues, whatever. Again, it's all available there. That's the other way you can help out, other than joining the Rise community. Because one of the things that Trevor and Ryan do, even though, as I said, this is fully funded, they anything that goes over just goes to the next issue. It's not like they're trying to get rich making comics. These guys do it, and I know them both personally. They do it for the love of comics. So definitely go and check it out. It's definitely worth your time. So as we're kind of winding down here, Ryan, the other thing that I want to ask you, we mentioned you getting a chance to show Jonathan Glapion your work, which is amazing. Um, but you've been doing shows now for a while with, Rise at your table, being able to show work, being able to show original art and what have you. Sometimes, most of the time with Trevor there as well. So what has the reception been like? Because here's the other thing about being an artist, right? It's a very kind of solitary profession. You're sitting at your drawing table, you're not necessarily getting that feedback, what have you, until, months later when the book actually comes out. So
Mhm.
for you, especially being that this is kind of the first superhero book that you've done, as you mentioned, what's the feedback been like throughout this journey, and has it changed at all from the first? Because I think I remember interviewing you, the first time that we met. We've met in person now, but the first time we met virtually was, I think it was you and Trevor in a hotel room right before Heroes Con, I think for the second issue.
Yeah.
Uh, and so obviously, second issue's come out, third, you're about to do fourth. So what's the feedback been like, and what's the experience been like, doing these cons and being able to have the work in front of people, both people that have read it and people that are seeing it for the first time?
Yeah, I think the biggest change I've seen from issue 1 to where we're at now is I don't know how to word this. I feel like people feel more secure in what we're putting out. Because I mean, you're putting out like your first issue of something, and that's really all you're showing. People would be like, yeah, okay, yeah, looks interesting, but how do I know it's going to keep going? How do I know
Hmm.
it's going to be the same art team? How do I know it's going to be the same thing in like 5 issues as I'm getting now, kind of thing. And so from what was like a little bit of like a spark of an idea or spark of interest, I feel like we're having way more repeat customers on the convention floor. I hear people say, "Oh, I've seen you guys before now." We're starting to get like more recognized like as we go out, and I think kind of in the same vein, I'm feeling very like proud and comfortable and like secure in the art that we're putting out. I think people are sensing that me and Trevor are like legitimately proud of this book and putting it out, and they can sense that we are going to take it to a finish and it's going to maintain a high level of quality like the whole way through.
Awesome. Have you guys, and I haven't asked this to you or Trevor before, are you guys talking about the next project yet? Or are you just focused on getting Rise, or have there been conversations?
Yeah, there's a couple of plans in the works. I don't know what he's like talked to you about, but he had an artist fall out on a horror book that he was doing. And while I'm drawing Rise, I was like, man, I'll do it. Like, and so we're trying to figure out a way to see if we can do it. I think the main challenge, if we do another book together, is he wants to keep it fresh. He wants to keep like the styles changing. He doesn't want to become like locked down, which for me as an artist is great. Like I've been having a ball drawing superheroes and cities and stuff like that. But, each book is about 40 pages. So we're getting like a lot of pages in.
Yeah,
And it can get a little redundant sometimes. So to be offered the opportunity to possibly just be like, all right, do something completely different.
right.
Imagine you're a completely different artist. Like I'm kind of excited about that. But yeah, there's that. And then after that, there's talk about doing some kind of sci-fi book with each
Nice.
other. But again, like uh, we're building this trust as we've known each other over the years now, where um, when I took over colors on the book, Trevor was like a little hesitant about it. But I think it's really paid off. I think like we've been able to keep up the quality with the colors with me coloring it and the pace as well. So now when I say, "Hey, I want to try this," he's like, "All right, let's try it."
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Fantastic. Well, everybody, the campaign runs through Monday, July 28th. So, the Monday after San Diego Comic-Con. Trevor's going to be at San Diego Comic-Con in the small press area. I don't know the table number. I don't even know if he knows his table number yet. But be sure you're following P-Watch Press um, on social media. I'll put a link in the show notes so you can go there if you're going to be at the show. I definitely recommend you go by the table and check it out. You're not going to be there, Ryan. Is that right? You're not.
I will be.
Oh, you will be.
Trevor,
Okay.
yeah, Trevor called me up and he just told me you're going, so I'm going.
Okay. That must have just happened recently, the last couple days.
Oh yeah, as soon as he found out he was getting a table, he just called me up and
Okay.
said,
Gotcha.
"You're going." So
Oh, that's fantastic. We're getting the whole gang
yeah,
back together. Can't wait to see you, man. Oh, that's going to be
yeah,
great. So yeah, everybody definitely again follow P Watch Press. Link in the show notes. You can go. You can pledge for issue 4. You can see the first issues and Ryan's fantastic art there. You can pick up the first 3 and what have you, and make sure you join the campaign. As far as your work goes, Ryan, if anybody wants to follow you on social media, where's the best place? Any place you're particularly active?
I'm most active on Instagram, and they can just follow me at Ryan Best Art.
Great. I'll put a link to Ryan's Instagram in the show notes as well, everybody, so you can go and check it out. Other cons you have planned for the rest of the year for those that may not be getting out to San Diego Comic-Con?
Me and Trevor will be at a Boston Comic Con, and then we'll be in New York, but we don't have a table for that one. And then later in the year, we'll be doing Thought Bubble.
Oh yeah, fantastic over in the UK.
Yeah,
So, all right. Well, Ryan, great to see you. Great to catch up. Can't wait to see you in person in a couple weeks at San Diego.
yeah, man, I'm excited.
And to everybody out there joining us, we really appreciate the time. Again, link in the show notes. Go and check it out. It's definitely worth your time. Book is fantastic. As I said, Ryan's art has improved throughout the project, and the story itself has really built. Like, I got to be honest, when I read that first issue, I was like, technically very well done, very well written, very well paced, but I don't think I really got what Trevor was trying to do after the first
Yeah,
issue. But by, just a few pages into the second, I was like hooked. And then when I read 3, I was like, oh my God, this is it's so good. So I definitely recommend it, everybody. Again, link in the show notes. Go and check it out. Don't forget to give P Watch Press and Ryan a follow on their social media as well. So, well, again, Ryan, thanks for your time. Fantastic to see you.
yeah. Thanks for having me on.
And everybody out there, we want to appreciate we really appreciate you joining us. We want to express our gratitude, whether you're checking us out on YouTube or the audio only feed. We appreciate it, and we'll talk to you next time.